What's good, y'all? Welcome back to Music with Mando in the Morning, the podcast where we interview local artists about their upcoming work, previous work, and pretty much anything they just working on in general. Today, I got the homie, King Delane.
Yes,
What's
going on, man?
So first off, I kind of want to just ask you about Good Vibes Only, bro. Your latest album came out a little over a month and a half-ish ago. How's it been doing since the drop, man?
Man, actually, it's doing really good numbers right now, man. We dropped a couple singles off that before we dropped the album, but we had this single called "Long Road" that we dropped with the homie Dimrick, man.
Sure.
And that
the homie's birthday today too?
Yesterday was his birthday. Yesterday, yeah. Happy belated to the homie Dimrick, But yeah, man, that track, man, it did really good numbers. The album is a lot of positive vibes, and it's a conscious album, and it's something that neither one of us have done, me or Def Divine. And it was our third album together. We were just like, we got to do something different.
Yeah.
What can we do different? Because I never want to put out an album that sounds like another album. Like, if you want that album, go listen to that. So when we came up with the idea for this, we were both heavy on the, hey, let's do like a conscious album, and
Good
so
vibes, yeah.
It's really hip hop, man, and it's really dope, man. For the people who don't know who Dimrick is, man, he's done a lot of stuff with Exhibit and Be Real. They actually, had a group together, and he does a lot of stuff with like Jaron Benton, and we met him on the Dizzy Wright tour, actually. I believe you were there.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah,
I was
okay,
shooting for y'all, yeah.
So, that's how we met, and we talked about doing a song, and a short time later we got something together, man, and we made magic, and that really catapulted the Good Vibes album. You know what I mean? Because Good Vibes Only is people see that or hear the title, they don't know how they're gonna take it. You know what I mean? They're like, they don't know what to expect. So when you go in and you hear some of the singles that we started out with, they're like, oh, okay, this is a vibe. You know what I mean? And it's a really vibey album, man, and it's been doing really good numbers. And I'm proud of it. It kind of changed some of our algorithms. Like we started gaining fan bases in other places, like usually like Seattle, Sacramento, San Francisco, Portland is always in our top 5. But now we're seeing places like Las Vegas, Reno, LA, places like that, jump into our top 5, so it's really expanded for us since we dropped this album.
Do you think the song you did with Demerick kind of helped with that? Because I know he got his like presence in LA, and he'd been working with Dizzy, so that kind of gives that presence in Las Vegas too. You think that had something to do with it?
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
I mean, we already had a fan base in Vegas because I lived out in Vegas for a while.
Okay. Yeah.
So we did have a fan base out there, but not like how we have now. Like Vegas has been my number one city since the album dropped.
Yeah.
For almost 2 months now. So that's been literally my number one city on Spotify. As far as Apple Music goes, I believe it's been LA.
Okay.
But I do think that, having Dimrick's presence on there, because those are cities that have not been in the top. We've had a fan base there, but definitely LA was way towards the bottom. You know what I mean? We get a lot of Northern California,
Of course.
and, we get a lot of Northwest. And oddly enough, a lot of Texas cities too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like we get a lot of like Dallas and San Antonio and Houston. So, it's been cool though, man. I appreciate it. So I do feel like his presence definitely helped with those regions though, for sure.
The next question I want to ask is, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but how do you see yourself evolve as an artist from your last project to Good Vibes Only?
Like I said, every project I have to evolve. You know what I mean? And I've been doing this a really long time. So for me, I've done about 40 albums in my time of doing music. You know what I mean? But out, like distributed, digital streaming, I got about 10 out there. So I always have to make sure that it's different from the last album. You know what I mean? And I always want to show growth. And I'm a storyteller, and I like to tell stories about my life. Things I've been through, things I'm going through. Whether they're positive, negative, whether it's trauma or healing, or whether it's just a fun time that I had. Whatever the vibe is, that's what I'm telling a story about, right? So it's really hard, and I have to compete with myself because I have to go back and listen to my catalog and be like, okay, I can't put this song on here because I've already done a song like that. Now, there are certain type of songs that I'll do. Like, I'll do a smoking song on every album, and it'll just be a different vibe every time. That's different, you know what I mean? But there's, you know, a lot of songs that I can't do because I'm like, I've already done that. You know what I mean? And sometimes you don't realize it until after you write the song, record the song, you know what I mean? And you're like, that just, it won't sound like it, but it just reminds me of a song I've already done. So, you know, we have to sit there and then we got to filter through everything. And so evolving, you know, album to album, it's kind of like when I go into an album, I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is the vibe I want to create. You know what I mean? So before we did Good Vibes Only, we did Masterminds. So Masterminds is complete opposite of Good Vibes Only. So Masterminds is a lot more gritty. You know what I mean? We try to do some of the back and forth, you know, cypher style raps. We got Millie's on there. Millie's gave us like a raw feature on that album. You know what I mean? So going from that and then switching it up and going to like a completely conscious vibe, that's a big 180. You know what I mean? It takes a lot of planning and focus. Because some people can, you know, I can easily hear a beat and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna write a banger to this, you know what I mean? But that's not what I want to do. My focus is here. I wanted to create this kind of content, right? I wanted to create this kind of music, so that's where my focus was. And you know, some people will understand, some people won't. You know what I mean? We all have different creativity styles and different things that set us off, you know, creatively. So.
It sounds like there's a lot of like plotting and planning before you actually make your move. So how long did it take you in depth to put together Good Vibes Only?
Here's the thing. I reached out to Derek King before we started this whole album. So I reached out to Derek King. We went down to L.A. We actually shot a video with him. And we never released the video. We never finished shooting it. And so that was how it started. And we just had this song with Derek King, who's, you know, he's a phenomenal singer. You know, he's got some pretty good hits too. And, you know, so working with him, it was already a vibe, right? It was already a vibe. So we didn't know where we were going to put that song. We didn't know if it was going to go on the next project or if we were just going to put it out as a single and leave it. Then we came out with this song, Quality Over Quantity. And we ended up putting that song out first. And it's just cipher. There's no hook. It's just bars all the way through. You know what I mean? Both of us just spit bars all the way through. So we put that out first to see how it would do, and it did okay, you know. But it's not a typical song you put out as a single. You know what I mean? And then we put out the Derek King song, which of course got a lot more momentum and a lot more buzz, and it's a lot smoother track, and it obviously has Derek King on there. You know what I mean? Who has a buzz and a following. You know, so once we did that, then it was kind of like, where do we want to go now? Now we have multiple songs out. Then we linked up with TJ3K. And, you know, we kind of hit it off, and we talked about doing some music together. And one day he hit me up and was like, hey, man, you want to do something? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. So he's like, send me a beat. And I was like, all right, cool. So I sent him the beat. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm going to kill this. He's like, what do you want me to do? I was like, whatever you feel. And he just sent over the song that we ended up making called Brand New, which was also a vibe. So then at that point, I'm like, all right, man, like we have a lot of vibey tracks. And we went in and we talked about it. And we're like, hey, like we were talking about doing a conscious album. Let's do this conscious album. These songs are conscious enough to where we can throw them in the mix. They're all vibey. We can throw them in the mix with this. So after that, it took us about a week to put the rest of the album together.
Oh, shit. Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was kind of pre-created. And then once we just had the idea of what we were going to do, we already had 3 songs in motion already. You know what I mean? So it was easy to do the rest. And then, you know, we're like, who else do we want to get on here? And then, of course, so we talked about working with Dimrick, and we're like, all right. So I hit him up, and, you know, and he was really grateful, man. He hit me up, and, you know, he thanked me for, you know, allowing him to be a part of the track. He's like, you got a dope record, man. I really, you know, I feel blessed that you reached out to me to be a part of this, because you could have picked anyone. So, you know, that's a good feeling too, man. But, you know, once we had it in motion, once we had everything going, it took us about a week to you know, get the album up and moving, man. So it takes a lot longer because then we got to mix and master and all that. I get my copyrights. I actually do. A lot of artists don't do copyrights.
It's important. It's really important. Yeah.
Man, if I told you how many times an artist didn't do a copyright and they just put music out, man, it's crazy. You know what I mean? And they send it to people before, like, hey, listen to this, and then I'm like, man,
it ain't theirs no more,
bro. It's so wild that they do that. Like, that's so risky. And the process is pretty quick. Once we get an idea and once we can agree on something, and it's like, for us when we work by ourselves, we both have different creative processes. Me and Def, and so working with him, like, we're complete opposite actually. If you talk to us in person, people are always like, oh, it's like talking to Snoop and Pac, because he's always like laid back and chill. Even on stage, man, we toured together and everybody's like, man, he's like, man, you're like Pac, man, you're like aggressive with the crowd. And he's like Snoop, he's just like laid back dude.
I definitely get that vibe.
Yeah,
too.
right.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So, that being said, it's like that's how we really are in person. When you meet us, it's really that vibe. Our creative process between me and Def is completely different, and our vibe is completely different, but it works so well together. He's like this calm, chill dude, and he just has like this acrobatic flow style, right? And I'm just more of this, like, I'm gonna tell you how it is. Listen to what I'm saying, demanding presence,
hard hitting.
Yeah. And with us together, it's just a dynamic that works so well. You know what I mean? So, creative processes, it flows like water, man. It's amazing.
What's your favorite song off the album?
My personal favorite?
Your personal favorite.
Bro, Long Road is my favorite song.
Okay.
Yeah, that is my favorite song. So Dimrick wanted us to send him the song first. So we didn't get it recorded with him.
Okay.
He was like, send me the song. And usually nobody will ever tell me to send them the song. Because he was like, I want to make sure this is something I want to be a part of. And that's basically what he said, you know what I mean? So I wrote it and originally had it with just me on the hook. And I was like, no, we got to mix it up. We got to do something different.
Definitely.
And so when I sent it to Dimrick, he was like, bro, he's like, the way y'all went back and forth on the hook like that. He's like, that really got me, man. He's like, it gave me some chills and got me in the mood to write. And so he went in and he killed it, man. It's an inspirational album, and that's something I like to do. I want to inspire and motivate people, and so that being said, Long Road is relatable whether you're an athlete, a parent, an
very
artist.
Inspiring song, bro.
You know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, because everybody has a struggle and everybody's been through a journey. You know what I mean? No matter who they are. So to me, that's my favorite song. That is, when that song comes on, I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta hear this. You know what I mean?
Either Long Road or Quality Over Quantity are my favorites from the album.
Quality Over Quantity is a really good song, but that is more for people who, like I said, that's not a single type of song. That's something you got to actually pay attention to. And we shot a video. Have you seen the video?
I haven't. I'm already just saying it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Okay, so the video is cool, man. We shot it in an all white room. Brought our smoke machine out there, and we just. Basically, it just made it as simple as possible because it's really a simple song. It's just bars.
Yeah.
There's no gimmicks, nothing about it. So we're just like, hey, we're just gonna go in this white room and we're just gonna shoot a video in here. But yeah, when you get a chance, man, check it out, man. Because the video is actually is pretty dope video, man.
You kind of discussed a little bit, but like, what's your why, bro? Like, why do you make music? What do you hope to get by putting your music into the world?
For me, music is my first love, man. It's my passion. So the best way I could describe it is putting my music out there is for motivation and inspiration, as I've already said. But it's also because sometimes people are in a mood, right? And if I'm in a certain mood and I can catch the right song to match my mood, it's such an amazing feeling, whether I'm high or low or in between. You know what I mean? And it's and that's what I like. I like having that feeling. So why not, do something I love and put it out there, and have other people feel the same things off of music that I make. I started out when I was 8. I used to write poetry. I used to write,
I mean, that's all rap really is. It's just poetry on a beat.
That's what it is, man. And so poetry for me was like, that was how I would express, life. And things I was going through as a child, and I would write poems about it. And then when I turned about 11, that was when I learned how to write songs and started rapping. And so for me, at that time when I was young, I didn't have, it was more of just an expression. I just wanted people to hear my story. That was it. That was my why when I was a child. You know what I mean? But then I got more mature, you know, grew up and realized, okay, like we're really doing this now. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's it for me, you know. Yeah, it started out as poetry though, and a form of expression, really. You know, it was an outlet.
What are your goals for the upcoming year, man? I know it just turned March, so 3 months into the year. Like, what are your goals going forward for the year?
I got a lot of shows in the works right now. Actually, just got booked for 2 more shows today. I've already put out another magazine spread. So, you know, I'm working on getting two more spreads done by the end of the year. It's my 8th spread in the past 18 months, by the way. So that's big. That's big, you know. So I'm working on one, just came out, and I'm working on 2 more. And a really big thing is I got another album in the works right now, man.
Yeah, man.
You know, I just got a dope feature. Actually sent to me just last night. I don't want to say any names yet, man.
Yeah, I got.
But yeah, you know, I got some dope features on there, man. A couple of local artists I'm gonna put on this thing. 2 of them you interviewed already, actually.
Oh, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah. You know, usual suspects. You know that I work with a lot. So, you know, I got some heavy hitters and some really known people from the Northwest that are artists. From the Midwest, from California. You know, this is gonna be, and this is gonna be something completely different from the last project. I'm not gonna let the theme out yet, and I'm not gonna give any other features. But bro, like I promise, tune in, and this is gonna be something that, you know, I'm trying to blow everybody's mind again. You know what I mean? This album probably won't be as conscious. You know what I mean? But I will probably throw a little more of the conscious tracks back in there. You know, just on a whole different vibe though. You know what I mean? So. But we'll see when it's all done how it turns out, man. But I promise you, it's, you know, this album's fire. This in the works right now. We just started working on it like a couple weeks ago, and you know, we already got, you know, some of the features we got are already ridiculous, bro. So I'll leave it at that for now.
All right, y'all. Before we move on, arguably the most important part of the podcast, we gotta say our thank yous. So first of all, shout out to King Delane for coming through. You cannot have a podcast without your guest, as I say every time, and King Delane came through. I'm mad appreciated, bro. Thank you so much.
Of course, man.
Second, again, like I always say, shout out to the University of Oregon, School of Journalism and Communication. Again, without them, we would not have the room for the podcast equipment, or the camera equipment for those of y'all who are watching this on YouTube. Third, shout out to the homies at Dirt Squad Productions. I can't say thank you to them enough. And if you are an artist that is looking for beats, tap in with them on BeatStars and use my code Delta Squad, all caps, for a 20% discount. Also, if you haven't yet, please check out our NPR Tiny Desk submission that I helped the boys at Dirt Squad put together. As of today, we are at 73K views on that on YouTube. Hit the link in the video. That will also lead y'all to the NPR Tiny Desk, not only on YouTube, but we're actually on the actual NPR site now. So y'all best check that shit out. Also gotta give a shout out to the homie Mike Lee, last week's guest, for coming through. He laid that shit down and put in work. Shout out to the boy. And finally, all of this is brought to you by Delta Squad Media, my media business that I kind of started when I was a senior in high school, kept it pushing, and now we going strong. We got podcasts, we shooting shows. We doing all the above. We making moves. So if you're watching the podcast, you know where to find me. Tap in for all your media needs. Moving on. Upcoming shows and events, bro. I know you touched on it a little bit, but like, how many you got lined up so far?
I got one coming up next week, actually, with Neff the Pharaoh.
Yes, I seen that. I'm pulling up. I'm a big Neff fan.
Okay, all right. So you know, I got a couple songs with him.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? So it was weird, man. This dude hit me up and he was like, I'm trying to do something with you know, for St. Patrick's Day weekend. So I'm like, all right, cool. Like, what do you got in mind? He goes, well, you know, I've been trying to get a hold of Neff, and you know, I've been reaching out to managers and this and that. Nobody getting back to me. And I was like, bro, I'll text him right now. You know what I mean? I was like, I'll line this up right now. Yeah. So he's like, what? I'm like, yeah. So I text Neff. I'm like, Neff, you want to come do a show? He's like, say less. No, he said, say that. So anyway, you know, we lock it in. We get the venue and everything. And man, not even 24 hours later, we had everything in motion. You know what I mean? We had a full show ready to go, man. It was crazy. So I got that one, and that's pretty big, man. I've never done a show with Neff, you know, and you know, I respect Neff and his, and you know, I'm a fan too. And anytime we've worked together, you know, on a song, you know, he delivers for me, man, and I appreciate that. We just booked Summer Jam today.
Fuck yeah.
And we booked a couple more. I won't give details on those yet. You know what I mean? Because you know, things are still in motion on those. So, but we're locked in. But Summer Jam, I believe we locked it in for July 13th this summer.
Dope.
And that's gonna be here in town. We've been offered a couple tours already.
That's dope.
So I'm debating on, you know, taking those. There's so many tours going on this year, and it's like, man, a couple years ago when everything shut down, it was so hard to get tours, man. It was so hard to travel and perform. And then in 2022, you know, things, you know, really took off for us because we got booked for 3 tours in 1 year. We were gone so much that year. It was crazy. And, you know, anytime when people, you know, I'd run into people here in town, they'd be like, "Oh man, we thought you were gone."
Yeah.
'Cause we were gone for so long, you know what I mean? And we were always posting pictures of us on the road, you know what I mean? And so, you know, and then it was, so last year, you know, we kind of slowed down a little bit, you know. I'm like, I needed a rest, man. Like, you know, being on the road that much, you know, like you got to get caught up on life, you know what I mean? So I had to do that. But this year I've been offered several tours with some pretty well-known artists, you know what I mean? What I do have set in stone is I got, you know, March 15th, I got Neff the Pharaoh. You know, me and Def Divine are co-headlining that one. So that's major. And then we got the Summer Jam. Summer Jam is something that one of the OG pioneers of hip hop in this region, man, Mac Dub. Yeah. He throws it every year. It's something he does, and you know, he'll bring a lot of the OGs, and he'll bring a lot of the newcomers on the scene, and he'll kind of just mix them, and he throws this, you know, big jam. And the last couple of years we've been doing at the Big Dirty, and I try not to do too many local shows, you know, because then it's just like, you know, it just gets saturated. They're like, "Oh yeah, he's playing again. I can see him anytime I want." You know what I mean? So I never wanted to
the moment.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then I get people all the time, "Oh, when's your next show? When's your next show?" And, you know, I tell them, I'm like, "Hey, it's going to be on this day." You know what I'm saying? And then they don't show up. And they're like, "Oh, I missed that one. When's the next one?" I'm like, "Well, now you got to wait like 4 or 5, 6 months now, because I'm not going to do a show every month." You know what I mean? And if I do, it's not going to be in town.
I know you've been doing this for a cool minute now. I kind of want to ask, other than Eugene, because, I mean, that's where you be at most of the time, what city you think has been giving you the most love as far as places you've gone?
Man, Seattle gives me a lot of love.
Yeah.
And Portland gives me a lot of love, man. And it's crazy, man, because the first time we started going up to Portland to do shows, like, we didn't realize we already had a fan base up there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, you know, we went up there and we had fans there for us. People knew words to our songs. You know what I mean? I ain't saying everybody did, but there was people there, you know, singing along to our songs. And, you know, that's a good feeling when you go and you got fans in other places. And same thing in Seattle. California, you know, we have a large fan base, you know, in the Bay Area and in the Valley, Sacramento, Stockton, Modesto specifically.
Yes,
of course,
sir.
You know, 209. Oakland and San Francisco are always up there too. And it shows. It shows in our numbers. It shows when we, you know, make appearances in the cities.
Yeah.
We get a lot of love in Houston, Dallas, and San Antonio, but I've never stepped foot in the state of Texas, man. I've been to a lot of places, and I've never been to Texas.
What's the furthest you've been out?
The furthest?
Yeah.
The furthest I've been is New York. I have never touched Florida. I have never touched Oklahoma. I've never touched Alabama, Texas. I've been to Louisiana. You know what I mean? That was, you know, I went out there, and, man, I love the food out there, man. Oh, my God. But yeah, aside from that, yeah, no Texas, no Oklahoma, no Mississippi, Alabama, or Florida, man, or the Carolinas or Georgia. So a lot of the South, you know, is untouched for me. Crazy enough, though, you know, we get a lot of love from Texas, man.
Yeah.
And some of the major cities in Texas, but we just never been out there.
Y'all gotta line some shit up for that, man. Yeah.
So, well, one of the tours, so we got booked for another tour, man, and somebody got COVID. And so then everybody got COVID. And so the whole tour got canceled.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and it was like, because literally it was, we had no days off on this tour. It was like 2 days before tour, and they were like, hey, we think we got COVID. First day of tour, they're like, we might miss the first 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
So then everybody goes and gets tested, and then one person had it, and then a couple of days later, everybody had it.
Mm-hmm.
And we were the only ones not down in Arizona yet, because
Mm-hmm.
we were up here. Everybody else was in Arizona getting ready, because Phoenix was the first stop. So we were supposed to fly down there and meet them and get jump on the tour bus with them. And so we never flew out. We were feeling weird about it because it was literally like, I think like 15 or 16 shows in 16 days.
Yeah.
And like, it's cool when we do like, we've done up to like 9 without a day off, but then we get like 2-3 days off, and then we'll go on another stretch.
Mm-hmm.
But we literally had no days off.
Mm-hmm.
So we had 3 stops in Texas. Austin was one of them, and Houston and Dallas. So we were going to come down to Austin,
Mm-hmm.
and then we were going to come up to Dallas and then cut over to Houston, right?
Got you.
But to get to Austin first, our stop before that was Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I'm routing this out, and I'm like, that's a 14-hour drive. We get out of a show, it's like anywhere from 1 to 3 in the morning when we're done. You know what I mean? Because everybody pushes it, everybody's late. You know what I mean? And then, mind you, this tour, we weren't driving ourselves. We were going to be on a tour bus.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, yeah, you could sleep. But, bro, it's a bus. They don't have beds. I can't sleep like that. And I can't sleep when other people are driving.
Yeah.
It's a 14-hour drive. And I'm like, so wait. And we have to check in Austin, Texas at 4 p.m. to do load-in.
Mm-hmm.
And we still got to go to our hotel rooms, freshen up, get ready, right? So it was like, man, it was just going to be a nightmare. And that was my biggest thing. I was like, man, I'm like, 4th show into the tour is Austin, Texas, and we got a 14-hour drive from the day before, and it was gonna be a nightmare, man, because like some of these drives were long. Like there was like an 8-hour drive after that. After we got out of Texas, then there was like an 8-hour drive, and then we backtracked back to Oklahoma, and then we went up to Kentucky, and then we came to, like, it was just like, it was routed so weird, man, and that's just how it happens sometimes on tour. But then we were like, wait. Well, now we're missing our Texas opportunity. Yeah. You know what I mean? That was the only thing. The whole South region, because we were going all the way to Florida too. Mm-hmm. So basically, we were hitting the whole South. Yeah, that's what we were hitting. That was the tour, and that was the region that we haven't done on a national tour. You know what I mean? Because we've done the whole Midwest, we've done the whole West Coast, we've done the Northwest. You know what I mean? We've done every region, like tour-wise, except for the South.
Yeah. So moving on to my next question. You did touch on it a little bit, but I did kind of want to highlight it. What projects and music you been working on lately, bro?
I just did a feature for C-Dub and San Quinn. People who don't know, San Quinn, C-Dub is a dope producer, first of all. He's a good artist too, but he's a dope producer, He's got some production on this new project. Yeah. New project I'm working on right now. Working with San Quinn, though, was like what was really big, you know what I mean? Because years ago, I was going to get a feature from him, and now I did a feature for him instead. That's something I'm proud of. That just came out this year.
What was that one called? Never
Going Broke Again, or Never Going Broke. But yeah, man, it's in his catalog. It's in there. Yeah. Him and C-Dub, they do a lot of stuff. They just dropped a new project, and I felt blessed to be a part of that, to be honest. You know what I mean? So it's like, man, I listened to this dude, when I was younger, and now I'm doing a verse on his track. You know what I mean? So that's cool, man. As far as the album, like I said, man, the new album coming up, man, it's different, man. It's different, and it's dope, man. It's the whole concept we have for this one is dope. This one, we're not putting it together as fast as we did, because what we're trying to do is get all of our features first. We're trying to make sure that they fit, because we've already got a couple features. I'm like, it's not gonna work for this. You know what I mean? So we put it to the side, and we can use it later down the road or for something else. Instead of just trying to scramble and put something together, we're being very selective with who we're working with. I don't care how good the artist is or how known he is. If it doesn't fit for this project, it's not going to go on there. You know what I mean? But this new project, we have production from Beat Bros. So Beat Bros are always one of our, longtime producers. 93 Beats, another longtime producer. And then C-Dub.
Yeah.
So those are the only 3 producers we're really working with on this project, and but it also gives us variety, because B Bros kind of give us like this West Coast trap vibe.
Yeah.
93 kind of gives us like a Bay Area vibe, and C-Dub gives us like that Central Valley.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he's Sacramento producer. You know what I mean?
Sir.
So so it's a good mix of some West Coast vibes that's we're gonna flip and do something that people wouldn't expect, man. So that's all I'm gonna say about that right now.
Like I ask everybody who comes on the podcast, is there anybody that you recommend me reaching out to get up on here in the future?
It'd be really hard to get him, but Def Divine, man.
Yeah.
He's a hard guy to get on an interview. I've done a lot of podcasts. I've recommended him on a lot of different interviews, and it's really hard to get him on there. He's actually came to interviews with me, and he just sat there and chilled the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but if you can get him, that's somebody I would get, because he's a brilliant mind, and picking his brain is something that's really.
I can hear it in the lyrics, man.
Yeah. He's a brilliant dude by just hearing him. Yeah. So that would be somebody I definitely recommend. You got to get some of the OGs too, man. You gotta. I would recommend sitting down with Mac Dub. He's a good dude, man. He's a really good dude, and he just loves hip hop, man. And he has a lot of stories to tell, man. Someone else you could probably get in here, I would recommend, would probably be he's not local. He's in Portland. But I would try to get Cool Nuts in here too.
Okay.
He's a pioneer of Oregon hip hop, man. And that's somebody who I would try to get in here. He's a really cool dude. He's humble. You know what I mean? I got a couple songs with him. And there's a lot of love and respect there. That's somebody I would try to get in here. I would also try to get either Gamesters in here or Michael K.
Okay.
Michael K would probably be a good guy to interview too. Really talented. Same thing with the Gamesters. I don't know if you can get both of them at the same time. You know what I mean? But I would definitely try to get one of them. Those guys are all legendary hip hop. One of the first times I came here before, I was a 16-year-old kid rapping, and I was opening up for these guys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These are they didn't know who I was back then. I was just some opener. So. Full circle, we all have songs together now, and we've all moved away and came back. You know what I mean? So it's crazy how life works, man. But those are some guys that I would definitely recommend.
Before we move into the verse, I just want to ask: is there anything that you want to say that do you think should be heard on the podcast?
I mean, I pretty much said what I said. You know what I mean? I mean, if that don't motivate and inspire you, man, I mean. I don't know what else to say at this point. My job is to hustle and motivate, bro. You know what I mean? Yeah, I would just say anything you're doing, man, stick at it, man. Stay to it. You got to stay hungry and ambitious, man, because I've sat down and taken breaks before, and it just set me back. That's all it did. You know what I mean? So that's my best advice I can give anybody. You know what I mean? But I said what I said, and I meant it.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all. Like we always do about this time, we always finish with a verse, and King Delane ain't no exception. So he about to lay that shit down.
I got you. So look, from the struggle I was easing through it, just trying to stay humble. You should be influenced. All I really need is good weed and music, plus a bad senorita with some D's and booty. I'm proud of my accomplishments. I really seen how living life at the bottom is. Used to tell myself I gotta get up out of here. Wake up and hustle every day. That's the motto, yeah. See, this journey never stops and it's a long road. I know they want to see me fail, but I will not fold. Yeah, this game is always sold. No, it's not told. Send a prayer to the sky for the lost souls.
All right, y'all. Thank you so much for watching Music with Mando in the morning. Until next time, every Wednesday, 9 a.m., I will see you then. Peace and love, y'all.